Anybody had a chance to read my Christian writers newsletter? Um, I think it was that one. Sometime this week I wrote about I brought up the Seth Godin quote from his blog about um, writing, you know, writing for somebody, not everybody. And this is something that comes up with all my ghostwriting clients. At some point, there's a conversation where they get afraid to narrow their focus on who they're writing for. And I agree with those who say that's a way to write for nobody. You can't you cannot appeal to everybody. And by trying, you probably won't appeal to anybody. And I'll say what I think I said a few weeks ago. If you don't have a fair number of people that hate what you wrote, you probably aren't being honest enough, and you're probably missing the mark on aiming at an actual target. So by aiming at a target, there will definitely be some people outside that target. I always think of it like a bell curve, and there are always, all right, Richard.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I lost him. There's always surprises to me. So if you have the target and you got the bell curve, there's always going to be people in those tails that you didn't expect. So I'm not saying that you won't reach anybody that you're not aiming at, but I'm saying you probably can't predict it. And trying is futile. What do you think?
Say that again, Jeff.
I'm saying hey, Richard,
Richard.
I'm hoping this is a good sign that you're feeling a little better.
We can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Richard, I hope this is a good sign that you're feeling better.
I ain't feeling the best of best, but sorry it was late. It was hard moving this morning. So I gotta go to this treatment at 12 o'clock.
Okay.
Today.
Okay.
Well, right after a little after 12.
Good.
And I thank you all for the prayers. You know, I supposed to have that fusion done this Thursday, but they moved to the next Thursday.
Oh.
I was saying, Lord, another week of this. I don't know. So glad to see everybody.
Yeah. We'll keep praying for you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I was just telling them, Richard, that when we're aiming at an audience, we just have to have the courage to know that we can't reach everybody. We have to figure out who we can reach and not worry. And in fact, it's worrisome if we do have universal appeal, because it might mean we're not saying anything. And I was just saying, there's this bell curve that if you aim at a target, there are going to be other people that you actually reach, but I think it's impossible to predict. So if I think too much about, well, let me try to say this. I've got a client right now, for the sake of marketing, keeps adding chapters towards this or that type of person, but the book is getting a little crazy because the motive there doesn't align with the actual communication of the idea. It's now all of a sudden starting to feel a little bit like, so trying to figure out how to like rein that in and get back on the path. So yeah, I was just asking, what are you all's thoughts about that, and what have you noticed, and where has that been a struggle?
I think it's excellent. I think it's like a goal in anything we do. And I like the fact that it's clear. For me, it was hard at one time because I always like to include everyone, but this is specifically for a group of people who are working with kids, or university students or whoever. So teachers, administrators, and parents, but I think it's an excellent point, and it's one of the strong tools that you've given us. So thank you.
You're welcome. Does that feel difficult, or does that feel like you feel a lot of peace with that?
I do feel peaceful. That's a good point. I do. It's clear. It's like some things are harder, like Rox and I just have, I'm allergic to outlines, but other than that allergy, severe allergy. But but it's funny because
Have you guys ever heard this? I'm sorry, Sal, are you done?
I know I'm really I can keep on talking.
So the gal that wrote Harry Potter, if I get the story correct, you guys correct me. I understood that she basically wrote the story while she was going to and from work. And she specifically wrote it for a 12-year-old boy as a fantasy novel.
Oh.
And if you think about it, that 12-year-old writing that she did in a 12-year-old format spread through all ages, even though her focus reader was a 12-year-old boy.
Excellent.
I don't know if you guys have ever heard that before.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite group I taught was middle school, and she rocked out with that group. Oh my gosh. I mean,
I noticed how as the kids in the story got older, the
Mhm.
books got more sophisticated.
They did. Yeah.
So
Good
she's a good example of not trying to reach everybody. There's
Everyone.
no way she could have had in mind what she was going to accomplish with that.
Oh, good
She
grief.
sat there and thought, like, how can I make billions of dollars on this book? You would learn the meaning of writer's block.
Oh gosh.
Because you'd be thinking of like, okay, I've got to appeal to this and this and this and this and this. I will say one thing we talk about a lot is the hero's journey, and that she did very, very well, creating the hero's journey kind of format for Harry Potter. And so, if you want to see a good example of it, and then all the like kind of symbolism that goes into those books, of transformation and that kind of thing. Lisa, most of these, everybody in here is writing nonfiction, and everybody but Sarah is writing Christian nonfiction. Sarah is a Christian writing for education, so it's an education book, an education method. But everybody has what we think about a lot in this course is how do you write a nonfiction book on a hero's journey model? How do you call a reader to adventure? How do you deal with their resistance to that? How do you help them? How do you become the mentor for them? How do you take them through all these challenges? How do you take them into the deepest, darkest cave where they're going to find their epiphany? Yeah. So anything else you guys thinking about that before we get into
Well,
feedback?
Jeff, I think, that's what you said. And yes, said it several times that if you have a specific audience that you're trying to reach, it makes it easier for you as the author, the writer, to focus. Because I think like you said, just sometimes it's just like I remember when I first started out preaching, I felt like I had to preach Genesis to Revelation. And I found out you can't do that in a set period of time. So you get a message, a focus, a topic, and you focus just on that. And it makes it a lot easier, and it's I think it enables you to grab the attention of the persons or those individuals that you're trying to reach when you have a focused audience and stuff. So, and you made that plain, over these several months I've been attended. So yeah, I believe that is the way to go.
Yeah.
Richard, I really enjoyed your devotions. You write very well.
Well, thank you, Tom. Did you and Bob get my email I sent you out this
I
morning?
responded to it.
Okay. I sent it early because I meant to get back with you, Bob. and Tom both, but I just
That's
wasn't
fine.
at a place.
No, we're praying for you, but I'm just letting you know that I'm very, I hate to use the word impressed, but I'm very motivated and impressed with your writings. They're very good.
Well, thank you. I thank Bob. I thank Jeff and Angie for all of their hard work and their sharing. And it's really been and you all, as I was praying for you all this morning, praying for this team, I'm praying that y'all just be the best and that y'all able to produce the best book that's going to impact a world for the kingdom of God. So I just want you all to know y'all in my prayer, and I truly appreciate you and your prayers.
Thanks, Richard.
Praise the Lord.
Thank you.
All right. So let me start with Sarah. Since we have a lot of people today, I'm gonna use a timer.
Sure.
We'll shoot for a 20-minute 20 minutes.
And I'm just doing half of that. I put a big bold thing in there. And I just leave anytime there's a reference or recording, I leave it on there and take it out later. But if scroll down, you'll see there's a point, Jeff, that I put a note on there to stop here because the other stuff we've gone over. This is there. So it's not that there are like 5 more pages on it, but we've gone over that before. Yeah.
Okay. All right. You want to read it?
Sure.
Or do you want me, or would you like me to?
I love it when you read it because then I can hear my mistakes, but you don't have to.
No, I'm happy to.
Okay.
Smart art builds strong class communities. Excuse me. The reader may be wondering, why a chapter on class communities in a book about smart art? I was pleasantly surprised by the dramatic difference smart art makes when building strong class communities. This relational glue my students spoke about was a result of 2 factors: using smart art in my courses and putting students in small groups. My students impressed upon me, I need to share this information. Our country and world have numerous divisions, therefore it is refreshing to find a way to bring people together. Students spoke to me in class, in videos, and wrote about it in course evaluations. This is a sweet part of how they motivated me to keep sharing. Here's what I heard semester after semester. I go in and out of classes seeing the same faces, but not really knowing anyone. But the students in your class are not just faces in a crowd. I know them, they know me, and we support one another. This is the strongest class community I've experienced in my education here. That is why I will remember the students in this class. It is a gift. You have made us into a community by seeing the beauty in our different artistic strengths in smart art and building our similarities in the small groups. Thank you. Smart art ignites these dual powers to first students' minds to create, then builds class communities while they share their work on a regular basis. There are 2 major benefits I did not expect, but observed and watched students enjoy. I'm not alone in observing the power of class communities. MIT's Teaching and Learning Lab invited Dr. Gopalan to speak about her discoveries in this area after concerns arose during the pandemic. She is Assistant Professor of Education and Publication Policy at Penn State University. Her topic, Students' Sense of Belonging Matters, Evidence from 3 Studies. Her collection of data showed that belonging seriously matters to students' academic success. She nailed what we were doing in class. Stop telling students